We come in our studies in Joshua to a very short paragraph, chapter 5 verses 13 to 15, so don't blink or you'll miss one of my favourite bits in the book of Joshua. Yet the unexpectedness of its appearance and content should perhaps alert us to the fact that the author is playing another one of his tricks, to draw attention to the story. Completely out of the blue, Joshua is found alone near Jericho in verse 13. In fact, the Hebrew text uses a word that usually means in or on. Perhaps this is intended to conjure up a picture of Joshua right underneath the walls as they tower in all their impressive might above him. If so, his reconnaissance must have brought home to him the intractable nature of the problem, which we'll learn more about in chapter 6 verse 1. And then as Joshua looked up, perhaps at the walls, he spotted a fellow soldier, but one armed for battle, a man with a drawn sword. If this was frightening, the words the man uttered were even more astonishing. "I am," he says, "the commander of the army of the Lord." Joshua's response indicates he was quick to grasp that this was an appearance of God himself, since we're told he fell down on his face, with his face to the ground in reverence. That he got it right is confirmed by the man's response, where in a clear echo of Moses' experience in the burning bush in Exodus chapter 3 verse 5, Joshua is commanded to take off your sandals, for the place where you're standing is holy. In this context, Joshua's questions are interesting. To ask, "Are you for us or for your enemies?" verse 13 was understandable right under the walls of Jericho. But the answer is something of a surprise. "Neither," says the angel. Joshua will of course eventually get an answer in chapter 6 verse 2, but there are more important issues on God's agenda, and hence this story. The first point is surely this: the worship of God for who he is at the heart of a relationship with one who doesn't simply take sides. The presence of God with his people can, as the sequel in chapters 7 and 8 will show, unleash his power against them. This is what it means for the Lord to be with them. Thus, in answer to the question, "What message does my Lord have for his servant?" where Joshua is apparently still hankering after guidance, the reply simply restates the reality of God's holiness. At the same time, there was plenty to encourage Joshua. The anxious general was met by a fellow soldier, and one who was, as we are told, the commander of the army of the Lord. He had the hosts of heaven at his disposal. Perhaps this was a reminder that he has not come to take sides, but to take over. Thus, before ever the campaign proper takes place, and after Israel has recommitted itself to the Lord, its leader is reminded in an awesome and unforgettable way that there is one ready to fight, but only for his holiness and on behalf of a holy people.